So we are very, very rapidly approaching the end of the 2023-24 financial year. On April the 5th, that will be the last chance for you to use your ISA allowance for this particular year. Whether you need to or not, I'll get to in a moment, but I'll take you through a couple of bits of important information around the end of this financial year with ISAs, and then I'll take you through the top paying cash ISAs that you can take advantage of in the next couple of weeks. Now, if you're watching this from April the 6th, 2024 onwards in that financial year, then obviously some of those rates will have changed, but don't worry, I do plan to do an update of those best ISA accounts because some of them might have changed. We might see some more competition in that new financial year. So make sure you keep your eyes out for that. Plus, every single month over on the YouTube channel, I'm doing an update on the best savings accounts every single day over at becleverwithyourcash.com/savings. Myself and the team are updating the top paying savings accounts. So any other changes that happen in the future, then you'll be able to find out all about those via those resources. Now let's start off talking about why it's such a rush, why you might see loads of articles at the end of this year, the next couple of weeks at least, telling you, make sure you take advantage of your ISA allowance. What's this all about? Well, as I say, the financial year runs from April the 6th to April the 5th. And every year you get an allowance for new money you can add to ISA accounts, whether that's cash or stocks and shares or LISA or whatever it might be. That starts again from April the 6th. Doesn't matter about money you've already got in there from previous years. And I've already covered ISA allowances elsewhere, so you can check out that content if you want to find out more about that. But specifically, this is new money. Now, £20,000 is a lot of money. A lot of people aren't able to take advantage and use it all up. But if you are able to do it, and there are reasons potentially why you might want to do that, then if you don't do it all by the end of the financial year, it doesn't carry over. It just goes, you lose it. So let's say you put 15K into an ISA already in this financial year. You've got another 5 you want to add. If you don't do it, tough luck. You're going to have to put it in next year. And obviously that will be 5K out of your allowance for the following year, which is remaining at £20,000 as well. Again, there's not many people this is going to affect because most of us don't have 20K we continuously be putting into ISAs every single financial year. But this is why there's such a kind of clamour around it, particularly if you're a personal finance journalist like myself. The amount of press releases we get about ISA season, it's what sometimes is known, the end of the year and the start of next year, ISA season, the amount of articles you see about telling you must do this. Well, let's quickly cover, do you need to do this? Do you actually need to worry about putting your money into an ISA in the next couple of weeks? For most people, I'd say no. Remember, the reason you have an ISA is because any interest you earn while money is in an ISA or any growth or dividends you receive while a stocks and shares investment is in an ISA is tax-free. Okay, that's a big reason to do it because you don't want to be paying tax on those profits you make. But this isn't the only way to do that. Remember, there's the personal savings allowance for savers. If you're a basic rate taxpayer, that's £1,000 of interest you can earn every single year tax-free. If you're a high rate taxpayer, that go down to £500 a year tax-free interest. Now, if you're an additional rate taxpayer, sadly, you don't get this at all. But for the vast majority of people, that is a lot of money you can have in savings accounts, potentially at higher rates of interest, although as I'll take you through in a moment, that might not always be so clear difference, where you aren't paying any tax anyway. You think about it, if you have got a 5% paying account, there are a few which are higher than this outside of ISA, but let's say a 5% paying account, well, you need to have £20,000 saved as a basic rate taxpayer to go over your personal savings allowance, okay? So really this is about those of you who have got lots and lots of money in savings or particularly high earners. Yes, those higher rates of interest do make it easier to go over those allowances, but that's kind of really not so much for everyone to worry about. And then in terms of stocks and shares, there are also the capital gains allowance and the dividend tax allowance. I did talk about them very recently, so do check that out if you're interested. Now they are, at the moment for this financial year, £6,000 for capital gains tax allowance, £2,000 for dividends tax allowance. They are going to drop in half, drop by 50% from April onwards. So there's certainly an argument, as I kind of shared with you the other day, an argument to potentially move some of your investments, if they're not already an ISA, into an ISA, just to kind of ensure that you're kind of that gain that you make. Remember, you can take up to £6,000 this year, but £3,000 from next year in gains. Well, maybe it's better selling some off now and moving them into an ISA. But that's if you need to do it at all in the next few weeks. Now, before we get into the best ones, I do quickly want to touch on one little thing here. Again, this is around a rule change that's happening from April the 6th. From the new financial year, you will have to be 18 years of old to open up a cash ISA. And most of the other ISA, that's already the case. But there are a handful of providers, mainly building societies, which will let 16-year-olds and 17-year-olds right now open up a normal cash ISA, and sometimes those rates are better than you get in the junior ISA, which is the one for anyone aged 17 and below. So there's a little bit of that ground where you can choose between the two. Well, from the new financial year, you must be 18 for a cash ISA as well. So it may be if you are 16 or 17, or if you are a parent or a relative or what it might be, you might think you're right. It's a good opportunity to get one of those other ISAs, a bit more interest potentially if you open up those accounts right now. Okay, let's start then looking at the highest paying cash ISAs for the end of the financial year 2023-2024. And I'm going to start off talking about limited and cash, easy access cash ISAs. Now, there is a brand new top of the table account that has launched today. I wouldn't be surprised if the other accounts I'll tell you about in a minute might respond to this, and maybe in a few more days and early next week we might see a bit of other ones trying to compete with this. But this is from Plum, the savings app Plum. They have launched a limited access cash ISA paying 5.15% for the first year. After 1 year, the rate drops. It's variable anyway, so it could drop at any time, but you'll certainly see a 0.86 percentage point drop after 1 year. But even so, that is top of the table, and that is actually better than you're going to see in even non-ISA accounts right now, where the top one without any kind of restrictions is about 5.1%. So good place to put your money, right? Yes, however, a couple of caveats to share with you quickly. Minimum deposit of £100. You can put £1 in, but if you don't put £100 in, you won't get this rate. So make sure there's always £100 in this account. Plus, the maximum number of withdrawals without a penalty is 3. If you take 4 withdrawals, then your rate drops down even further. And this one does allow transfers in, but it is not a flexible account. The next best one is from Moneybox, works in very, very similar way, 5.11%. Variable, includes a bonus for the first year, so after 12 months it will drop down at all. And that one requires £500 in the account to get this rate, and also has a maximum of 3 withdrawals. Now, if you don't like the idea of a limited cash ISA, you want it to be fully easy access, then these are your other options. And there's a number which are just below that one. The top one there is CHIP, 5.1%. This one does not allow transfers in, unfortunately, although that is something they are hoping to change. It is flexible. I wouldn't be surprised if they are one of the ones that maybe responds to Plum. We'll wait and see. Obviously, I'll update you, becleveryourcash.com/savings if they do. Then we've got Zopa below that, 5.08%. Again, these are all the ones to tell you about so far are app-only ones, which might be a bit frustrating for you if you don't want to do your banking via an app. This one has a 0.5% bonus for a year, which will, as long as you do this financial year. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if there's another bonus the new financial year, but they're pretty much saying that the rate is 5.03 plus that little bonus on top. And then we go into a few other banks that are doing sort of above 5% and a fully easy access. So there's Charter Savings Bank, Kent Reliance, Synergy, Family Bill and Society, and Principality Bill and Society. Now, many of these are online only ones, but at least you don't have to have an app for that. Now, if you can lock your money away, then a fix is a really good shout for you, because potentially you can get even higher or very close to those easy access rates, but you're guaranteed to get it for the entire next year. Now, the top one here is from Virgin Money. This does require you to have a current account with them. If you apply for that current account from Virgin Money, you will be hard credit searched if that's something that's important to you or you're concerned about. Obviously, with most savings accounts, that isn't an issue, because you need a current account first to get it. That is 5.25% fixed for a year. Now, with this one, if you haven't already paid money into this financial year as well, then obviously you can open it up, but you've got, I think it's 30 days to fund it, which means you could put money in this financial year and then also add more money in the next financial year to get that locked in rate as well. So that's certainly something to consider there. After that, we've got Oak North, 5.07%, Kent Reliance with the same rate, 5.07%, and then 5.05% from Paragon, Aldermore, Castle Trust Bank, Charter Savings Bank, and Close Brothers. All of them allow transfers in if you are moving money across to get a better rate. Now, the longer you fix, then the moment the rates are getting lower as well. So for a 2-year fix, you're looking at 4.7% from Oak North, UBL, or Close Brothers, while Zopa is at 4.67%, Aldermore 4.65%. For 3-year fixes, it goes 4.5% for Aldermore, 4.4% for Close Brothers, 4.39% for UBL, 4.38% for Shawbrook, and 4.36% for Hodge. While a 4-year fix, lower down even still, UBL 4.05%, Zopa 4.01%, United Trust Bank 4%. Anything below that will be below 4%. And then we look at 5-year fixes, a bit of a boost here. UBL again at the top there, 4.16%, Close Brothers 4.15%, and then 4.05% from Secure Trust Bank and United Trust Bank. If you want to building society would be quite good if you're more concerned about ethical use of your money. Then Principality Building Society is a 5-year fix at 4.02%. Now, I know I've just listed loads of different accounts there. Remember, becleverwithyourcash.com/savings is where you'll find the best of all the different savings accounts. They're all our best buy tables. So you can get a recap of all of those and any changes that might happen since I've recorded this over there. Now, there are a couple more types of ISA I do want to talk about very quickly. The first one is the lifetime ISA. A lifetime ISA is obviously a great option for you if you are planning to save for your retirement or for your first home, because you get that 25% bonus. Now, I wouldn't be using a cash lifetime ISA for retirement because we're talking about so much time away that you really want to be investing that there. And obviously this video is focusing on cash ISAs, but if you're saving for your first home, then a cash lifetime ISA actually is the one you should be going for here, because you don't want to risk potentially losing some of your deposit if the investments don't sort of grow, if they do go down, which always is a risk obviously with investment. I mean, you could argue if you're looking at not buying a home for 10, 15 years, then maybe investment for now and then move it into cash 5 years before you plan to buy is an option. But broadly speaking, cash lifetime ISA is really there for buying your first home. The top one here is from Moneybox. Them again, they offer 4.4%, but it does drop to 3.5% after a year. Okay, so it's worth knowing that. It might be the best one right now, but it will drop substantially after that. So probably the better one to go for is Tembo. This used to be called Nude, got taken over by a broker called Tembo. They've got rid of the fee and they offer 4.3%. Now, this is a variable rate, so obviously it can drop as well, but the likelihood is it will stay a bit better, a bit higher than Moneybox if you're getting it new as a new customer. Then there's quite a drop down there. Paragon, 3.51%, Beehive Money, which is part of a Building Society, 3.5%, and Skipton Building Society, 3.25%. So really, if you're starting off a lifetime ISA for buying your first home, you're looking at Tembo or Moneybox. And the last one I want to talk about here is children's junior ISAs, okay? Now, these ones, as I say at the top, they're open for any child 17 and below, but the money is locked away until the child is 18. So just bear that in mind. If you're not sure you want them to have this cash at 18, then maybe a different form of saving is the way to go for. But the top ones here are only available to open in branch or via the post. Okay, so the post thing is fine. You can fill in a form and send it off, but you might not like the idea of it. But I'll take you for these top ones, then I'll share a couple of online ones you might want to consider. So Coventry Building Society will pay 4.95%. That is the top one right now. Loughborough Building Society, 4.8%. Leek Building Society, 4.75%. Skipton, Stafford, they're also 4.75%, and then Newbury Building Society, 4.65%. You'll notice building societies are the main theme there, and obviously they're kind of, the best providers there for those junior ISAs. So you might be, if you don't want to go into a branch rather than do it on post, maybe see what your local ones are offering. There might be some not too far off that. If you do want to do it online, you are dropping down to 4% as your top rate, and the ones there are NS&I, so National Savings and Investments, or Tesco Bank. In fact, Tesco Bank can also be opened on the phone if that is something that interests you. So there you go. They are the top paying cash ISAs for the end of the financial year 2023-2024. I'll update you in the new financial year on your options for your new cash as well then. My name's Andy Webb. Thank you so much for watching. Check out these videos for more on ISAs.